Hey guys, it's Katie. Hope everybody's doing well. So I want to do a project today that's very similar to the wood project that I did, but in different tones. So first thing I'm starting off with is some scrap clay, and I'm going to, I want a brown, right? And I want a nice deep brown, but I have a brown in my scrap box that I really like that I don't want to use for this. So I'm going to make a different brown. So this is the one I like. But then I have two of these reddish browns that I want to, I'm not going to use the one with a mica. So I'm going to use this one that I have here. So this is just my scrap box where I mix up colors that are very similar of my scraps and get different shade tones. So I have this red brown because I like that other brown. So I'm going to keep it. But it's definitely too red, so I'm going to add some of my scrap green, some of my scrap blue, and then I want to deepen it with some black. So I'm just going to mix scrap colors until I get a brown that I'm happy with. And once that's done, I'll be back. I'll have it rolled out on the thickest setting. Okay, so this is the color I have here, and I have it separated into two parts. I have a little more here. And it's actually not on a setting 0, it's on a setting 2 on my atlas. So just slightly thinner, but still pretty thick. And so with one of these parts, we're going to do this on both, but we're going to do two different colors. So we're just going to create some texture. And just like we did on the other one that I made a while back, it's going to look like weathered wood. And in this case, that one I went more beachy, kind of weathered wood. This one I'm going dark. So I have different things here to create texture. Just my regular craft knife, a needle tool. I have this that I made just from some little needles, and I put them together with some clay, a comb. You know, you can use all kinds of things to create texture. A toothbrush would work well, but I don't have one down here. I know I do, but where is the question? Oh, wait. I have a denture brush. I don't actually have a toothbrush, but, you know, so just begin putting in some lines. This will give us nice light texture. Just a denture brush or a toothbrush. Okay, and you want different depths. Let's try the smaller end of the comb. And you'll get some pieces that peel up a little bit, but that's okay. And we can use this, these are finer, so let's use something like this. So whatever you have around, you can use. They don't need to be even. And you don't need to use scrap clay. I don't tend to use real brown clay, but I tend to make that from my scrap. But you can use pure clay if you don't have scrap, that's fine. So gouge different depths, different lengths. You can have some that squiggle a little bit. It's okay. Pretty much just go for it. I'm going to use the dull end of my craft knife. And we'll put in some more texture after as well. We do want some basic texture on here for sure. You know, I'm not cutting all the way through it though, okay? Or I'm trying not to at least. Now we're going to begin coloring, and this again you could use whatever you want, but I saw, I think it was on Facebook, a piece of furniture, and I'm trying to match that. I saved the picture on my phone, and I'm going to try to match that coloring as best I can. So I'm going to start off with using acrylic paints, and I'm going to try to mix a really dark green. Now, this paint here that I bought, if you're not ready to bake this, don't apply it, because it will make your clay sticky if you leave it like overnight with the clay raw, and then even when you bake it, it still stays sticky. So make sure you're ready to go. Whereas like the more expensive paints, you know, like the Alchemy by Gumbacher, the Impasto paints, different kinds of paints, these actually work really well. A lot of the paints, the metallics and stuff like that, I can leave it on raw for a while. Like the Deco Art and those brands, I can actually leave it on raw. But this one, if you leave it on raw clay, it really screws your clay up. So I usually mix for this kind of stuff right on a piece of cardboard or something. And I'm going to try to make like a dark green. So let's see. It's actually got a nice blue tone to it. It's going to be, it's like a teal kind of color. That might actually be good. A little bit of that, a little bit of that. Then let's add, it's hard to explain what I'm looking for. A little of that to it. And because this mat is textured or is colored, it's going to be hard to tell exactly. It's not white. That actually might be pretty good. And you can use a paintbrush to apply this, but I'm probably just going to use my finger. So that looks pretty good for one color. Let's take a little bit of that and let's add a darker to it. So let's add some black to that. Ouch, if I can open the black. Now the Gumbacher is a really expensive, high quality acrylic paint, whereas the Arteza is really not. It's a really cheap paint, which is fine. Nice. Okay, so let's apply some of this here. And then let's apply some of the lighter one as well. And I think down here I'm going to just, I think my pendant's only going to be this long, so I'm going to come up a little higher. I think I'm going to add just some black, mix it. Like that, and we could take even, I don't have any white close by, but I have a little bit of this bright impasto, that would work, a lighter color. And the impasto paints are really thick acrylic paints. Let's add a little lighter to that. And then just play until you're happy with the look, pretty much. So use whatever colors you want. Use good. We'll give that a second to dry. So that's that one. And then I'm gonna set that one aside. And then for this one, we're going to go a little lighter. So for this one, I wanted like more of a greeny. Yeah, that might be okay. Yeah, that might be more actually what I wanted. And I also do want some kind of like yellow ochre color. Oops, which I did not get out. Yeah, this is raw sienna. This is close enough. Ouch. If I can open it. You know what I should do before I put that out, because this dries really fast? Texture. Oh, I didn't want to use that side because this is the side I used to clean sanding stuff out of my pendants. So I don't know, some kind of different greens. See, this one's too bright, so let's add some sienna to that. It's just too pure green for me. So use whatever paints and colors you have. Like I say, I only record videos of things I'm actually making, so I wanted to make something like this, so that's why I'm recording it. But we've done something like this before, but hey, why not, right? And keep your finger fairly flat, and that way it doesn't go down into the grooves too much. I have a dog here. There we go. But if some gets down in the groove, that's totally fine. All about experimenting and just having fun and using whatever you have available to you. Let's put some of this olive green. I do think I want it darker again down towards one area. And again, my pendant's not going to be that long, so I need to come up a little bit. put some plain yellow ochre on here. Or actually, this is a, what color did I say this was? Oh, a raw umber, but it's, or I don't even know what I had out. Raw sienna, but it's not usually, and like my oil paint, raw sienna is not usually this light. This is more like a yellow ochre for sure. Maybe even a hair of this black down here. When it gets this kind of a little sticky, it's kind of nice because it starts to get this pulling kind of effect, which is actually kind of nice. Okay, so now we got our colors applied in the acrylic paints. And let me see if I can drag some along. And then I also have some chalks. And when you're using pastels, you're using chalk pastels, not oil pastels. So these are the ones I got from Amazon. They're little half sticks, 64 colors. They weren't that expensive. But you want chalk pastels, not oil pastels. So I was going to even use some pastel and see what I can get. Just tint some things as well here and there. Change the flavor, which might not show up on camera, so I'm just rubbing my finger on it. But I can see it. And maybe when I'm editing this video and I always usually brighten them up, it might show up. Right now when I'm just looking, it doesn't show up very much, but it may when I edit the video. This is more like a greenish color. Now again, this is going to be a pendant you don't sand because you don't want to sand this off. And then on this one, I was going to go a little. So I'm just adding some chalks, I'm adding some acrylic paints, whatever you want to do. Just have fun with it. Mix and match. Nice. Okay, and then I'll take either my blade or my needle tool, and I'll kind of, again, because I might have flattened out some of this texture, kind of put some more lines in it here and there. That will also drive some of the paint down in. Once we cut our pieces out, we can always look at the piece individually and modify it as well. Right now we just have a big sheet, you know, even put some puck marks in there, but I'll do that when I get my pieces cut. Okay, so the other thing with cutting is obviously using a cookie cutter works really well because it gives you symmetrical cuts on your, I'm just trying to move some stuff out of my way, on your pieces. The problem is we don't have every single shape that we want to use, so sometimes you got to modify. So I wanted to try a shape out, but in my mind I don't really know how I'm going to hang it yet, and I'm going to have to figure that out. But I still think I'm going to attempt to do it, and then I'll work through it as I go. Let me just pick up some of this paint and get it out of my way. Okay. So what I did was I drew a shape I wanted, and it's a narrower football. So I drew it in paper, and then I cut it in half. So it's a narrower football than what I have. And just on regular, this is colored like construction paper. Then when I was happy, what I did was I cut it out of literally just like what I was using, like a piece of box, like a cereal box would work fine, like thin cardboard or cardstock if you had some, but I couldn't find my stack of freaking cardstock anywhere. So I have two pieces here. One's a little bigger than the other. I'm going to pick the one I like the best, and I was thinking of doing something like this, either with something in the middle, but I need to figure out how to hang it. That's my problem. Like, do I put a piece? So I don't know. Either way, I got to get these cut and baked and in the oven, and then I can play later. So I'm thinking I was going to do find a part you like. So then I would take my blade, and let's just cut a straight line so we can get multiples out of this, right? We have multiples to play with. About the size. Let's even do one from this direction. Get that out of the way. So if we just cut strips that would fit these roughly. Then we can I want to make sure I can fit. Nope. Oh, I sliced that one. Did not pay attention to picking that one out, did I? It's okay, because we're not going to use that bottom. Okay, and then same thing with this one. So now we have 4 of those. I don't think I'll get 4 out of this one, but and you don't have to really line it up. I just want to try to use as much of the clay as I can. And I just can't see with all the lines. I can't see where my actual cut is. That's the only reason why I'm actually lifting them off of here, because I can't tell where I just made that cut once I make it. Okay. Okay, so now we have pieces. And I actually want to keep a tile here. So one of them, either way, we'll set up later. what we're gonna do, but maybe I should. No, I like to cut it on the tile I'm gonna bake on. And sometimes if you get it a little stretch, it'll split, the clay will crackle a little bit. Depends how dry it is. So let's make one in this direction. I kind of like up here. And if I use the blade side, it would help. And then just kind of line it up with your template. If this template would stick on, it probably would stick on if I did the cardboard side, huh? And not the glossy side. And my cut shapes aren't perfect, which in this, it doesn't need to be either. You know, these cut out, I just freehand drew like a little narrower football shaped kind of design. Okay, so there's a half there. There's that one. Then let's do the same thing with one of these. Do the same shape. So I'm going to do a couple of them in this direction, a couple of them the other direction, you know, whatever. So find the spot you like the best. Maybe right here. I like with that ochre in it. And so it only needs to go on a half-hour bake once I get my kinds cut, or my shapes cut. I don't want to use my craft knife if I can help it, because I want a nice smooth curve, and I might not have gotten a nice smooth curve when I cut these out with scissors. So I'm going to cut out some more of these, and I'll bake them for about a half hour. And then when they're baked, because I'm going to do another bake later, when they're baked up, we can play and design and see how we want to set them up. After you get them cut too, and you have them kind of lined up, you can add like little dots, just like they're kind of like little wormholes, or kind of flick up a little bit, make like little knots in there. You know, whatever would occur in wood naturally, right? And then you can actually look at the piece for itself and be like, oh, there's only one big line. No, I want two. Or, you know, maybe I need to drag that one out a little bit. Extend certain ones. So, you know, once you have your couple pieces, you can then kind of play with it and modify it however you want once you see it as a piece. Okay, so I have those two, and then I cut these two out so far. They're the skinnier half of my, because one of them's a little fatter, one of them's a little skinnier when you look at it, and we set them on. So I'm just going to keep cutting out. I have two more of each, and then I'll be back when I'm done with that. I just wanted to show you that. And what I'm going to do with these last two pieces, I'm actually going to stick them next to each other and then kind of see if I can burnish them down a little bit. just a little bit because I don't want to remove all that nice texture I created. I'm just going to kind of squish them together, just a hair. Maybe I'll just cut a whole one out of this rather than a two separate. Let's take a cutter. I just got some new cutters. No, I don't think that will go. Can't wait until I get some more from one of my girlfriends. She's starting to make cutters. Mary from Ojoy Creations, I should say, and I'm kind of excited to. She sent me a couple, but they won't go with this at all. So I can't wait until I get some different ones from her to use. I'm looking for one. Oh, there's this one. Let's use this one. Let's see, what will that give me? Especially if I have it. I like this light part way up here though. But I also like the dark part. I'm going to play around with these scraps and see what I can get from these scraps, if I can get them in any kind of way to mesh up kind of cool, you know. Might be able to get them to blend kind of cool and stuff, so I don't know. I'm going to play around with the scraps a little bit. So they're out of the oven, and I'm still contemplating what I'm going to do. So initially, my mindset is to put like a little orange cabochon in the middle. But then again, how do I freaking hang it? My other thought is I have these canes that I made a while back. I have a video on it, so if you're not sure, go. I think in the picture of the video, it's these showing the cane of these two. And that one. But I have a red and an orange. And they're translucent canes. So I was thinking maybe to use that in one, in between. I was also thinking I was going to take some translucent and do a little something with that in between on one. So I have some ideas, but I was thinking I wasn't going to use the same color. I mean, I guess I could, but I was thinking to alternate the colors because I thought these colors kind of look good together, but it's not showing up great. I wish it showed up better colorage. But I think the orange will just make it pop. Or the red. I have some red too, so I don't know. So I gotta think a little bit more. Here's the one piece that we did. So I have to think a little bit more on what I'm gonna do. I think one of them I'll use a mix of these cane slices. And I think one of them will use some plain translucent. And then I don't know what I'm going to do with the other one yet. But I have 3, so I might as well kind of decide what I'm going to do here. So let me think on it a little bit more, and then when I come back, and you can do whatever you want. You didn't have to make 2 pieces. This is just what I'm doing at the moment. I think what I'll do first is take my Dremel and just kind of smooth up any rough edges that I may have, so that way that's done. Same with this over here. I got all these jaggedy edges, so with my orange wheel, I'll just go around the edge and clean that up quickly. I know I'll do that. Let me do that. So I'm just going to do my orange wheel. And again, I've showed you many times how to use the Dremel. So mine has a lock button. That's how you open and close the chuck up here to put your bit in. You keep your finger locked the whole time, put it in, and then tighten it. And then take your finger off and give it a pull. I like the Dremel 4000 because it has variable speeds, not just a high-low. Because sometimes the high is really high and the low is a little low. And I like a medium speed. So when I'm using this one as well, I used another one and the lock button was way up here. So when you went to grip it up here, you would hit and hit the lock button and choke it up because it's like an emergency stop type thing. So I like to hold it up here when I'm doing something that's actually trimming. And this orange wheel will trim with a little more pressure. So around speed 15. and a little more pressure, so you can trim all that excess junk right off. So I don't worry about it in the beginning. I always tend to do it at the end because it's so easy to do. And I also tend to bevel it backwards a little bit. So meaning I tend to angle towards the back, and that way you don't see the side as much when you're looking straight down on it. And I'm being careful not to put my Dremel on the top because I don't want to take off any of the paint. And you can refine your shapes like that too. Can you see how this is more sloped right there? So that's, I'm getting rid of it so you don't see it. And you look straight down at it. So I'm just going to trim them all up like that and just round off any really super pointy parts, and then I'll keep thinking of how I'm going to finish this up. Because the piece of furniture I saw had orange handles, and I thought it looked really cool with the colors. So that's what I'm trying to kind of take as like a little pop of color. I don't know, it might be something stupid, so I may do two, one in one way, one in the other way, and then save one to see if I even like it. And if not, then do something else maybe, a strip of black or something, with some texture maybe. You are going to have to seal these somehow, because when you wear them, this paint will come off over the years. So whether you use resin, whether you use just like the regular Sculpey varnishes. There's all kinds of varnishes you can use that are polymer clay compatible. I think it's a Minwax sealer, the Liquix. I can never say it. Sealers. There's a whole bunch of them, but whatever you prefer, you're going to have to seal it. If you don't seal it with anything, it's going to come off over time. It'll peel right off or wear off. So if you want to get longevity out of your piece, definitely seal it. Okay, I'm going to finish these. Okay, So what I did was I took slices of these canes on my Lucy clay slicer, one full turn around to get really thin slices, and they're all uniform. That's what's nice about the slicer, which I've showed you guys before. I have a piece of translucent rolled out on a setting 2, which is the same thickness as this is. So I think I'm going to make a veneer of each of these, and that's what we'll use for these two. And then I have another idea for the other one. So I'm going to take the slices and set them on. And I'm just looking for a strip in the middle. So I'm going to kind of make these ends a little pointier. Try to get them to fit the best I can together. And if they overlap a little bit, that's fine. And if they don't fully match up, that's fine, because I'll use a little bit from my other one that I have. And we only need a little strip. And we're going to burnish them together in a minute. That should be long enough, right? For what I plan on doing. Long enough there? Yep, that's long enough. So let's burnish this out. Let me get a new piece of paper, but I only ripped off a little piece. So let's burnish these together. And actually, any spots that weren't touching, like on the edges here, I could take a piece of this and kind of jam it in there. But all I need is a tiny little strip of this, so I don't think that edges like that will matter much. So let's burnish this really, really well so it's kind of seamless. I'm just going to use my finger. Also, I should get some liquid clay upside down. Tilt my bottle a little bit so it runs to the edge. I'm going to run this through the pasta machine too. So the background is a number 2. So this was at a setting 2. The translucent that I just put these on were a setting 2. So I'll probably go up to setting 1 because I do want it roughly the same thickness of these that the 2 side pieces are. Now, I need my blade, if I can find it. There's one here, but it's my older blade. I was looking for my newer blade. And this one's got paint on it. I have a little speck of something on this. Right there. Okay, so I'm going to roll this through my machine. Now, am I going to go lengthwise or width? Maybe lengthwise. Now this cane is old. I mean, it's February and I made this in the summer, so this cane's a good 6 months old and it's cold down here. I didn't really warm it up enough. I should have, but burnishing it will help warm it up. So let me run it through lengthwise on a setting 1. Just kind of make sure everything's even. And then what I'm going to do is cut a strip of this out. Let's say here. And this I'll take off because I'll use this translucent for the other one. And let's say cut a strip. I'm going to cut it fatter than I actually want it. Now this is going to be some slightly tinted orange translucent. And I think this orange one I made with alcohol ink. If you watch the video, I think I made that one with alcohol ink. So it's definitely a lot wider than I want it. So also, let's cut this off. And let's cut this off. Let's get some liquid clay on the edges of these guys so that it can adhere nicely. You always want, this is actually Bacon Bond, which is more ideal if you're looking to glue things together. And then actually I think I'm gonna do it this way here. Okay, let's cut this strip to the size I want it. I think I want it roughly about like that. I feel like I should do it on my tile so I don't have to move it after. These I can move because they're baked. This one is going to be the raw one, so let me squish it down onto my tile. Let's recut this edge so it's nice and straight. Where is my other blade? I want my sharper, newer blade. Oh, there it is. That's my really, really old blade. I want this newer blade that I have. I just sharpened my old blade yesterday, but let's recut this edge so it's nice and straight. And let's cut a little strip out. And let's see. And then my thought was to I have to go up higher. That way I can still drill a hole in the center. Now because it's translucent, these two side clays may make this bake. When it's baked, it may look darker than this sitting on white. So we'll have to see. So that was kind of my thought there. With that one, I'm going to do the same thing with the other one, except for in red. And because I know I'm going to cut some of this off. I don't think it really matters how big of a strip I put it on. And then the other one I was going to do something different. And I could put them on white. You don't have to lay them on translucent. To warm this one up and burnish it with my fingers will help to warm it up a little bit. So I wanted these to look like cells, this cane, when I made it. I wanted it to look like cells when we do paint pouring. Just gonna add a little bit, little tiny dots where the seam is to kind of throw the eye off a little bit. Oh, another, it's the same cane, just a different slice of it, just to throw the eye off just a hair. That there's a seam there. And because we're only using a little tiny strip, you really don't notice it anyways. Okay, let's run this through on a setting 1. A little something there. Okay, and then oh, got a little piece of clay for my machine. Okay, let's put this one on actually bacon bond first. Oh, we're leaking bacon bond. Must have an air bubble in there. Because it keeps wanting to come out. There must be an air bubble right near the top. It wants to go pop, pop, and pop right out. Good. I hope you were just seeing all of that on camera. I know I'm kind of working off in little areas here. Okay. So those got bacon bond. Let's stick this one down to my tile so it's nicely stuck down. Let's cut one straight edge. This is all still pure translucent. That's pure translucent. That's pure. Pure. And you can reuse this translucent. I mean, it's just going to be slightly tinted for other projects. You know, if I needed a translucent red, I would use that. A translucent orange, I would use this. So I won't chuck those, these translucent scraps, that's for sure. I might actually use them for my next part. This will probably go right back in my translucent bag. Because this was that really crumbly translucent I had a long time ago that I had to chop up. Well, it works good now. Okay, so let's cut, let me take a peek at these, see how big of a strip I wanted. Let's go skinnier. Let's go skinnier. Let's try it. Let's see what part do I like the best. Kind of like, let's get rid of that. I want to stagger them a little bit, but I don't want to do it too much because it might look weird when I put the jump ring in there. So on that furniture piece, they had orange, but I'm going to do the red too, so we'll see. Oop. And I'll bake these two for an hour. And then when I'm done, I gotta go get some laundry started and stuff. I'll come back and we'll do the other one and see which way I prefer. And I'll probably just mix these up and use these for the other part, but actually I'll keep that red. Maybe I'll use this orange one. If I need more, then I'll probably need more than that though. Maybe not. But this one's will be nicely tinted to be a good translucent red, and this will be translucent orange. So you can mix all your parts back up together to give you a translucent color. Okay, I'll be back. So this one, I took the translucents that I had left over from these and kind of mixed them up, and it's still kind of marbled, which is fine. So my thought was to take some silver foil, and I'm not using the foil, the Mylar backed ones. Those work really well, and I have those. Those work really well if you want something not to crackle. My thought was if this crackles, it's okay because I have this kind of pinky, orangey, marbled back. So I'm going to take some foil, some silver. I have all different colors, but I think I'm just going to stick with silver, which makes an absolute mess. Take a strip of that, lay it on here. And it's okay if it's not whole. I don't really care in this instance if it's whole or not. This is that really fine stuff, so it never really comes out whole. You can get a whole sheet down pretty easily, but I'm not really looking to do that, so I don't mind if this back, once it's baked, shows through. Oh, that doesn't want to come off my tile. Remember, we just need a little strip of it. Okay, let's get rid of all this extra stuff. Now, regular foil crackles a lot, and like I said, so that's why I don't mind if it's going to crackle. It'll show through to just this translucent. And then I'll have some pink translucent with foil flakes in it, which actually looks cool when you bake it. We've done a pendant like that with a purple one. I've actually used that quite a few times. As you cut it, you're gonna get pieces that want to bend and flake off and move, and again, I'm not gonna need this whole strip. So whatever it wants to do, it can do. I'm not going to be that critical with it. Such a messy thing to deal with. Okay. So now that I have that, I'm going to use some alcohol inks to tint it. And I was trying to find my orange colors. Actually, let me put this foil away. So I have Pinata, the Calabaza orange. I have Ranger, the Pearl Splendor. I also took out Salmon in the Ranger, and then Dandelion, just in case some of them aren't light enough. I'm gonna have to vacuum off my desk now that I got foil all over it. And like I said, I have all different kinds of foils. These are on my Amazon page. There's blue and purple and pink and gold and all kinds of colors, but I'm going to use the silver. Okay, so let's add some alcohol ink to this, and I think I want to start with this pearl one. Now, you really have to mix these pearl ones up super, super well, because it has the mica in it and it gets stuck down in the bottom, especially if you haven't used it in a while. But I used it actually yesterday when I made this pendant right here. I just made that yesterday. It's a little different. We carved that one. And also while I'm at it, I should probably get some Bacon Bond on these guys so they're ready to go. And again, just enough to make it sticky, not enough to make everything slide all over. The laundry's going upstairs. It's Sunday night. What time is it? 5:40, and my fiance's working because we got that 2 foot of snow this weekend, so he's out working. And he just texted me. He said, "Can you do my laundry?" I used to do his laundry all the time, but not anymore. He can do his own laundry. We both work full time. Okay. Okay. So let's just drop some. I kind of want to use this one. So this one's the Pearl in Splendor. And I have gloves on. And so we're just gonna, oh yeah, that's a nice orange right there. It's actually kind of a nice orange. I don't know, this one I'm not in love with. The Pinata. This is what came in the kit that their first kit that I got. I'm not a big fan of this orange that they have. But maybe a little of that on there too. Remember, I'm probably only going to be using the center strip. And this is how I tinted to get these canes. This is how I tinted translucent. So it was just with the alcohol ink on some of them. Some of them, if you watch that video, I used the first time I used the Pardo was in that blue one. Because I had some of the Pardo translucent. Should I even try some yellow? See if I can get any of this to pop a little bit. I don't know. Yeah. That will only take a second to dry, pretty much. Okay. That might look nice in between the two. If it crackles, I can add a little bit more ink where it crackles. Okay, let's cut this. Let's cut a straight edge first. Pull that off. And I think that's pretty. I think I might take some of this because a little piece of it peeled off right there, and just put some of the shimmer back on it. Okay. It's a pretty piece. I almost don't know if I want to get rid of that. I might keep that. These already have Bacon Bond on them, so let's put these on the same way we did the other one. I'm really kind of squishing them into it. Okay, we'll get that one in the oven too. I hope on camera when I lighten it up, it shows up better. That's a really pretty strip, I have to say. So I may keep that. It's hard because if you put it in the sheet protector, it wants to stick, the foils. But actually I might just mix it all up and keep it in my scrap box for when I need a layered foil piece. Because that was easy to make. We can always make that again if I need to. So anyways, let's get that in the oven too with the other ones, and a full hour on the last bake, and then they'll be done and I'll resin them. Now don't check this clay, because when this stuff kind of bakes up like that, it looks really cool when you sand and you have some on different levels. You have some further down in, some up on the edges, so keep this. I've used this kind of clay many times in projects as one half of the pendant would be something like this. So I'm going to keep this. Don't get rid of that. Just FYI, that's a good scrap. So here they are. They're all out of the oven. So here's this one. Here's this one. This one. And then the plain one. So, you know, just remember, if you get an idea, the only way you're going to know if it works is to try it. And then the only way you're going to get to a great pendant is by working through and going, you know, coming out with some that you kind of go, okay, not great. That happens. You know what I mean? To get a great pendant, you have a lot of, not failures, but a lot of so-sos. You know what I mean? So work through them. Don't be afraid to try it. I mean, I really didn't waste anything, much of this, to try it. So please do. At this point, either I resin or I modify. And in my head, I was just thinking maybe I would modify the colors a little bit. Now, on camera, I think when I brighten it up, they'll look brighter. But in real life, I think I do want to brighten them up some. So I think I might add some more paint and then do another quick half-hour bake. They're at their full bake right now. They're baked fully. They're baked for an hour. So if I was going to paint them and modify the paint color, it would just be to kind of set the paint on there. So let me grab my paints out, and I think I am going to modify the colors a little bit. Okay, so I am going to wear a glove because I just got out of the shower and I don't want to get my hands all nasty. But I did like the blue side. That I liked, but I think I need to lighten it up a little bit, which means I'll need a light color. Some kind of white or something. And I don't really have, you know what, I do have white chalk paint. That might work because it's kind of matte. And I do have gesso, but I can't see my white acrylic paint at the moment, so that's okay. It'll give me kind of a matte finish. So I think this side I just want to brighten up, and this side I might change a little bit and add some brown to it. So let's do the blue side first. I think I started with this ultramarine, maybe. It's a pretty bright blue. Let's see. Oh, maybe I use this Prussian too. Even though these colors like aren't true to, no, maybe I did just use that one. These colors don't seem very true to what I'm used to in the colors, like in oil paints and stuff and other acrylic paints. For some reason, I don't know, they just seem a little different. And do I have an old paper towel? Yep, right there. Okay, so let me mix that one up. Because I do still want to have, I don't want to get rid of all my dark, but I do want to add a little more of this light color and then a little more lighter. on top of it. I think I need more blue. Good. Take a little of that. Add some white to it. There's some on this cap here. Okay. It's definitely brighter. Okay, definitely more what I want. You could add some more chalks and kind of whatever you want back on it. You know, just enjoy and play and allow yourself to be creative. And don't beat yourself up so much. Like, come on. It should be fun. And again, to get, you know, for anybody to get a gorgeous pendant, they have to do some trials. I mean, sometimes you just get one that works, but sometimes you don't. And that's fine. I mean, that's the whole point of crafting, you know what I mean? Every time I do an oil painting, not every single oil painting comes out the best. Every time I do a wood burning, not every wood burning is like the best wood burning I've ever done. Same thing with cross stitches or mosaics or dream catchers or anything I've ever done in every craft. You have some that you love and some that you go, so. It's just kind of the way it works. Okay, and then for the other one, I was still going to do some of this green, but I was also going to fade it up to brown. So I was going to have some light green, some olive green. Gotta take some white out. And then I was going to do some brown too. I'm a big fan of raw umber, but, raw umber, but this isn't quite like a normal raw umber. Even this deep green, maybe that, oh, that was a lot. I don't know, let's see what I think I do need some yellow ochre so it does match a little bit. So I got the ochre out, which is almost very similar to the tone that other color was. I want to try to mute this down a little bit. And they don't need to be perfectly mixed because I want some of that variation. Let's even add a little bit of that in there. Here we go. Definitely brighter. More what I was looking for. And if I get some paint on my center strip, I can always take some alcohol to it and wipe it off. You know, I'm going to try not to, but if it happens. Before I get my finger in the dark color, let me do the light. Oop. Ooh. actually. That's not bad mixed with that. Let's take a little bit of the olive green in there, which I already have. Let's add some brown. Yeah, much better. I even like a touch of that white on this bright green. Here we go. Is it still wet? Initially I was going to go darker with this, but my eye's being drawn to more of the light color. Just because you intend it one way does not mean that's how it's going to come out either. Definitely got too much right there. I gotta change that up a little bit. I could even, well, let me finish these up. Need a little more white. Then I can just throw this little paper away, which is why I use that instead of a mixing pad that I have to clean or anything else. I can just throw this stupid little. And then, hey, I'm repurposing recyclables, right? But I'm trying to make it look like wood, so I'm trying to, like old painted wood, so trying to keep it scattered and not perfect. See, for your lights to show, you need your dark, so I had too much light on there. On camera, that looks a lot brighter. I think that's more what I was going for. Definitely, I think that's more what I was going for. So I'm going to rebake these. I do want to mention, when you're resining, you're going to have to be careful, because any of these kind of indentations or these gouge marks that we made, your resin will want to flow out of. So go slow, go with thin layers, use the thickest resin you have. Yeah, so I'm going to bake these another half hour, and I'll see if I like them after they're set. Okay, so I baked them last night, and I just got out of work, and they're done, and I'm definitely happier with going with lighter tones. For sure. I think this one's my favorite. I mean, I like this one too, but I think that one's my favorite of the three. I don't know why, I just do. So pretty much I'm gonna resin. I probably won't resin all of them because I don't need to wear all of them. This paint feels really weird. I mean, it's set, but it always feels really kind of sticky. Like it's not compatible with polymer clay. It just, I don't know, it just seems funky. But it seems to be set. It doesn't seem to peel off, so I'll give it a couple months and see. But if you have another paint other than that Arteza brand, I would use another paint. See how it's like super shiny, and it kind of feels weird too. Can't seem to peel it off, but it doesn't just feel right. Not like regular acrylic feels, like where I added that chalk paint. Feels smooth. I don't know. So, you know, it's not the greatest brand, like I said, to work with polymer clay. I'd be curious if I left this pendant for 6 months, if something would happen or if it would get stickier. So I don't know. We'll see. I wouldn't back any of these. Maybe just sand them a little bit, but that's a personal preference. I'm okay with the backs looking like that. So I probably will just resin this one here. And then I'll take my Dremel and just fix up the look of it a little bit. Probably round the top off some. And then this side, and just kind of, you know, it's an uneven. It's not meant to be perfectly lined up, which is why I left the gap and then cut it. I didn't just put it straight in the center and had that guy going right in the center point. I could have, but I didn't want that. So it's kind of off center and it makes the point. So anyways, I will probably resin either one, maybe two of these up. Maybe this one here, maybe not. Might look cute on black or a brown shirt. And then when they're done, I will drill a hole and I'll show you what they look like. Okay, I want to mention one thing I do when I resin with the 2 to 4 minute resins and the distortion and what you get. So as soon as mine comes out of the light, because the light gets warm in my tiny Pandora light, it does get warm if you leave it on for a half hour. Not hot, but warm. The clay also gets warm. So as soon as mine comes out, I take my tile, and a clean tile, and I just push it down flat just to cool it off, okay? This is one I did that with. Now this is one I just let cool in the light, okay? So talking about distortion with those, very small on this one, right? You see how much where I just let it cool in the light? You see how much distortion there is there? I don't usually get that much distortion because I always push it down flat. There's barely any, and honestly probably because I bevel the edge is the only reason why it's tilting. So a way, if like you say you shut off your light and you just leave it in there, which is what I did because something was boiling over upstairs. My mashed potatoes were boiling over, so I just quickly shut off my light and ran upstairs, but it cooled off like this. So one thing you can do, take your heat gun or a hair dryer, and you don't want to heat this thing up. I mean, you're just looking to gently warm it. You could turn your light back on and get your light to warm up, but if you have a embossing gun or a heat gun, this only has on and off, but a low setting or a hair dryer from a good distance away. Now I'm probably more than a hand width away with my light, 6 inches or so, or with my heating gun. I'm just going to warm up the back side. And I did not back these. I'm okay with the backs looking like that. If you want to back them, definitely always back before you put your resin on. I mean, I'm holding this far enough away that my hand, you know, yeah, I probably could burn it after a few seconds, but just warm it gently until it's a little, see how it's pliable now and I can bend it? And then we'll cool it off under the tile just by pressing down on it. And so you see how much distortion there is? Ready? So take your tile up or down. It doesn't matter if it's the face up or face down. And then just hold it. Let it cool off. And it should hold the shape fairly well. So let me do that. I don't think I'm going to show you how I drill the hole on this video. I show you all the time the pin drill and how I drill holes. You know, I don't think I need to show that every single time, so maybe every couple videos now I'll show that. Again, go back to video 1, go back to polymer clay pendant 1, and watch those videos because there's a lot of tips in there that it gets really boring for me to repeat and really repetitive, and I don't think about repeating it every single time. Like, I may forget to repeat that. So, especially the followers who watch me every video. So I don't think I'm going to show you how I drill the hole this time. So I'm just going to like hold it with my fingers and let it cool off a little bit. Give it a little, that's much better. Right? Much better. Still up a little bit. I could warm it up just a hair more or wait until it cools a hair more. But that then should hold its shape. But that's quite a bit better, no? So ideally, if it first comes out, do it. I mean, it's still warm enough to where I can bend this. And once it fully cools off, I won't be able to bend it. So if I wasn't on camera, I would just sit here and hold it for a couple minutes. Like this. And once it cools off, because I can feel it's still warm to the touch, once it cools off, it should pretty much hold its shape. So again, that one has a tiny little bit, but mainly on the tip here that you're seeing is because I beveled the back in, so you don't see any of the backing when you look from the front. You see how I bevel the sides with my Dremel? Yeah, right there you can see it. So it looks like it's sitting off, but it's mainly because it's beveled. I mean, yeah, there is a little, you can see in the middle's a little sloped, but not too bad. So again, when it's on clothing, you would never ever notice that. You know, when you're wearing your necklace or something, you would never notice it. You don't notice it. But that first one was a pretty heavy curve, so now it's done. But if you don't even want to deal with that, use a 30-minute or a longer curing resin like the RJ Crafts one. So I'm going to drill these holes, and when I'm done, I will put on my necklace stand and show them to you. These are the two I chose to resin. I have these other two that are ready and good to go, and you know, if someone ever likes this, or if I want a different option, I can always resin these. But I just have a box of pendants that I've made and extras, and I just keep them in a box, and they're good to resin whenever if I decide to resin them or need them for anything. Okay, I'll drill a hole, be right back. So I'm trying to decide what bail to put on this one at least. Okay, where I've been buying most of my bales, not these small ones, but most of my bales is on Etsy, Litha Studios. Might be Litha, I don't know. She didn't have a card. I told her to send me a card, but she didn't have a card. So Lytha Studios with an S. Okay, so recently I just got some more from her on Etsy. This is a new one. Ooh, this one here. That's from her. These are from her. That's it for my silver that are from her. I think the rest are Amazon or eBay. These black ones are from her, but I couldn't find those the other day. They still have those in this this brass color. And I think, yeah, the brass color. Oh, and this rose gold, but I couldn't find them in the black, and I wanted more in black. I got these from her. I love these because they're more of a matte. Love these. Got more of those. These I got from her. Oh, here's another black one. Or gunmetal. These I got from her as well. It's kind of like antiqued gold. So all of this top row I got from her. These two that I just showed you, I got these from her as well. These are just like the silver ones. So I got them in gold, silver, and then this coppery tone. These are large bales though, really large. So I'm trying to figure out what to use because this is like an orange tone and not actually like gold. So I have this one. Oh, damn it. I have this one, but that's too brassy. Let that one go. See, a jump ring falls on the floor and I don't pick it up. A bale falls on the floor when you're paying $5 for 5 bales, you pick it up. I have this one here, but it's almost too pinky because it's like a rose tone. I don't really have anything that I got these ones from her too. These are different. But those still, the color's not quite the same. I need a couple more little containers. I think the gold is the best match, the gold one. I mean, silver would just be too weird doing silver. I need to get some of these. I like this round. I think I got these on Amazon with a lot of these oval pendants rather than the same shape. I almost kind of like the funkiness of putting round next to them. And that's silver. Maybe I just go full contrast and just do silver with it. I don't freaking know. It's so hard to pick the bail for your pieces. I could just do black and make it kind of nondescript black. These don't stand out very well. I think I'm going to go do the black on here. I think I'm going to do the black on this one. But I don't know about one of these black ones I'll use on this one. But I don't know about this one. Because I feel like I wear a lot of silver earrings and everything. And I feel like when I wear gold here, I have to wear gold earrings, which I only have like 2 pairs of gold earrings. Okay, let me figure out what I'm going to do. And then I'll put it on. I'll show you. Honestly, I think I'm only going to finish this one. But I'll do this one so you can see it hanging as well. And then I'll take it apart afterwards. I did go with the silver. Because this is more orangey and not actually gold, I went with the silver tone. So that's this one finished. And yes, There is a little distortion there on the tip. But even on this felt, you can't really notice the distortion. Okay, so that's that one there. I'll hold it for a second longer so you can see it. I feel like I moved too quick. And then, but you can also look at it in the beginning photo too. There's this one. That would probably look really cute with a white wide strap tank top, like in the summertime. We call them wife beaters here, but like the racer, not really a racer back style, but like the workout tank tops. I don't know why we call them wife beaters, but we do. You know, like the workout style with the really thick straps and the crew neck. That would probably look really cute with that, even with some cowboy boots or something. So there's that one. And that one I used the black on. Okay, so there's that tutorial. Like I said, I mean, they're not the most perfect pendants I've ever done, but, and they're not the most beautiful pendants I've ever done. I'm not like, oh, I love them so much, but they're not bad. And like I said, sometimes you got to go through and make a bunch of these to get that perfect one. And it was a learning experience. Every time it's a learning experience. Every time I'm getting better at certain things, you know, so you're just honing your skills. So that's that. And I definitely think I'll wear this one, especially in the winter time like it is right now. You know, Friday's Valentine's Day. See, you can see by my nails. And I'll probably wear this one in the winter for sure. Okay, I'll talk to you guys next time.